Hello, this is Jeffrey, and today we are going to discuss about vectors. First, we have the first thing here is giving the vector v, which is having vx and vy. The vx is the x-axis, and vy is the y-axis. So, how can we draw this vector? So, to draw this vector, each component along the x-axis actually will be v cos theta, and each component of this vector along the y-axis is v sin theta. So since the y-axis has a component v sin theta and the x-axis has a component v cos theta, so drawing this vector will be a right angled triangle, though the diagram I didn't draw it here, but it's a right angled triangle having the horizontal as v cos theta and the vertical as v sin theta. So the vector itself is the hypotenuse of the right angled triangle. So that is that. The second is how we can calculate the length of a vector. So generally, if we know the ux as the horizontal axis and the y as the the ux as the horizontal component along the x-axis and the y as the vertical component along the y-axis. Then if you take the sum of the square of the two components and you take the square root, you will arrive at the length of the vector. Thus, if we have u to be 1, 1, then our vector is the square of 1 plus the square of 1 and the result as taking the square root of the result, which will give us root 2. So how do we determine the direction of a vector? To determine the direction of a vector is the angle of the vector. So the direction of a vector is actually the angle it makes with the horizontal component. The horizontal axis. So the direction of this our vector tan theta is a vy and vx. So we know that x here is 1 and y is 1. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. So theta therefore will be 45 degrees. So actually consider also a vector which has the first point as u and the second point as v. So it's like the vector is a line segment. So with two connecting points. So how do you calculate the length of the vector? So how do you calculate the length of the vector? To calculate the length of the vector, so we just use the distance formula. So we just say vyx minus vy2 minus uy1 square is equal to vx2 minus ux1 square. So if you this is y2, which is x2, this is y1, this is x1. So if you substitute all these values according as into this formula, you arrive with root 2. So and the direction of the vector also is vy2 minus uy1 divided by vx2 minus ux1, which is equals to 2 minus 1 divided by 2 minus 1. So in computing, there was a little error here originally, but though it has been corrected. So in computing the direction of the vector tan theta, which is vy2 minus uy1 divided by vy2 minus uy1 divided by vx2 minus ux1. So we'll subtract 2 from 1 and 2 from 1. So we arrive by that by 1. So tan inverse of 1 we get angle 45. So you see that this is actually the direction of the vector, which is the angle 45. Thank you very much.